What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Grapcedo reunion. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and I'm about to bring in everybody here right now. I'm decided to give everybody their very special entrance. So let's get to it. We're going to kick things off with my California connection pal. Over from Oakland, we got none other than Righteous Reg. Reg, oops, I removed you.
Who's here? You bring everybody up. Like, come on, you don't even know how to do this. This is how we're starting. I can't believe we're coming in.
You fucked up, Chance.
Yeah, like I was like, all right, we're good. Denise is starting out. She got the intro. We're like into this, and then she's like, blah blah blah. She just brings everybody into this.
So here's what happened, by the way, is that I forgot to take you guys off the screen when I started. So you were still on. And so that's basically what happened. So
learn how to work the internet.
Got ruined.
Grandma.
What?
What's up, Denise? What's up with you?
What's up, Reg? How are you?
I'm chilling. I'm kicking it.
Are you excited for the Grapcedo reunion?
Super duper excited to be here. See my friends. Never seen them. First time I've seen them in 5 years.
Okay. Well, you know what, Reg? We're going to go ahead and get you off the screen. That's it. Your time is off. We got to bring Phil in. Phil's next. Your time is up.
Oh, unbelievable.
All right, guys. Over from Chicago, we got none other than Phil Lindsey. Phil, where were you at?
Yeah, not feeling the best, but I'm here. Sorry.
Wait, are you sick?
Sort of, kind of. I'm all right.
Oh no. We thought you had forgotten. We were like, where's Phil?
Yeah. Wiping my nose and eyes because allergies are kicking my butt.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, that happens to me all the time. All right, Phil. Well, we're glad you're here. Let's go ahead and bring in our, I guess you can say, guest of honor for today, celebrating his 20-year anniversary of podcasting. Ladies and gents, we got Will Washington. Will!
Hey, everybody.
Did you like my intro for you?
I did like that intro. Did you write that, or was that just off the dome?
I don't do no notes anymore. I'm zero notes everywhere now.
Good. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you. It has been 20 years. Like, literally, I was just thinking about where I was sitting when I recorded my first podcast, which was, I guess it's a day off. It was June 18th, 2005. I was 17 years old. It was like right after I graduated high school, and I was like looking for something to do. And yeah, I've like 20 years of this. I have more to talk about on that, but bring everybody else in. I just want to just look at my own face.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, you know what? Now that you said that.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to do that to you. All right, let's go. Fine. Let's get the party started.
Started out immediately with some Will Washington. The greatest Will Washington, vintage Will Washington dates. He knew exactly the date that he had his first podcast. Unbelievable. How do you even remember that?
I mean, mainly because I've listened to it 100 times, and like we said the date at the beginning of the show. Okay. And so like that one is burned in my brain. Like I always remember June 18th, 2005, episode 1. And that was like, I scrutinized that one so much because like that was the first thing I'd ever recorded. And I remember for the week after, I just sat and listened to it, and I'm like, okay, I don't like the way I said this thing. I don't like the way I said this thing. And I like molded my habits off of re-listening to that first episode. And so it's like one I probably know by heart just by, and it's like a 60-minute podcast. You know, it's funny though. I was thinking about it in like the significance of doing 20 years of podcasts and like why that matters. And I was thinking about why we started podcasting in the first place. And I remember it was June of 2005. And there weren't many other podcasts at the time. Like podcasting as a whole had like kind of just gotten off the ground. And I remember like I was a big fan of This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte and all those guys. And I was like, I want to do a podcast, but like, what about? And I only like knew 2 things, tech and wrestling. And it was like, okay, I could try to like do something in the tech sphere. But the problem was that market seemed very oversaturated at that moment. And by oversaturated, I meant like there were like 3. Yeah. And And I'm like, okay, well, I can't fit in here. And so I remember at the time, iTunes didn't have podcasts yet. Apple didn't have podcasts yet. And literally, most people forget that, like, the pod and podcast were for iPods. Like, there was a thing you listened to on your iPod.
Crazy.
And I remember going to podcast.net, which is where you went to get your podcast at the time, and I typed in wrestling, and there was one other show at the time, and I listened to it, and I was like, this is no good. Like, I happened to, at the time, me and my brother, we used to make music, and so, like, I had all the tools to record and make things sound a whole lot better. So, like, at the beginning, I was like, okay, this is no good. We can do much better than this. How do we do this? And I remember I just kind of put, like, a little bit of a call out to anybody on the message board I was on at the time of, like, hey, who wants to do this? And I had gotten 3 guys together. It was Nick Marsico, Anthony Scatz, Michael Z, who I just saw at Dynamite in Detroit.
I think Anthony's in the chat.
Oh yeah, of course he is. But yeah, I can't get the chat. Like, I have to pull it. I'm gonna bring it over here because
Anthony, right here.
Yeah,
On the screen. Are you
Anthony.
seeing this?
Yeah, Anthony Scott.
there you
Yeah,
go.
and I changed nothing from that first episode. You did. That's true. All right, we'll talk about that in a minute, Scott. But yeah, I remember I got Scatz, Nick Marsico, Michael Z, and we did that first episode. And we didn't even really have, like, a name for the podcast. We just wanted to talk wrestling. And I remember thinking, like, what's really different now compared to then was the desire to talk about wrestling was so rooted in cynicism. Like, we just wanted to. I remember fans were so disenchanted with wrestling that they just wanted to bitch about it. And that's all we wanted to do was complain about it. And that was the entire premise behind launching a podcast. And and people looking for podcasts weren't looking for celebratory voices. They were looking for, hey, who wants to trash this with me? And that really, like, drove what's the word I'm looking for? It was the mood, the narrative, all of that around podcasts at the time, and wrestling podcasts specifically. But, like, it was fun. And I remember what really made everybody, like, want to even talk about stuff at that time. Like, because now that I'm thinking about it, June 18th, 2005, right? And so the first show we reviewed was actually a really good show. It was ECW One Night Stand. But it was like, but the idea behind it wasn't to, like, hey, this is a great show. It was, wow, this is great. It's a shame everything else sucks, right? Like, that was
How it was.
Yeah, that's how it was. And that's and yeah, so just thinking about that and thinking about where things are today, it's so different today. The entire wrestling podcast landscape is entirely different because, you know, we went through that era where wrestlers started launching podcasts and telling their life stories and things to that effect. And then we got to that point where things kind of exploded through the pandemic and everybody kind of started finding their voices. There was a whole lot of positivity, things along those lines. And then now where things are, it's, I know, right? I mean, there's a lot like the pandemic effect. Anyway, I've been doing a whole lot of talking here, and I'm like,
That's how we know Will's here.
Will's
Yay!
Washington
Yeah.
back, baby. Let's go.
I'm like staring at you guys' faces. I'm like, hey, you know, you guys
Wouldn't
talk
be a
too.
Will
This is-
Washington
You
podcast
gave
without
us
Will
no-
Washington.
Reg, Will gave us no pauses whatsoever.
No, I didn't give.
Man, he was just going in ham.
I
ham,
just
ham,
go in,
not his
yeah.
face to let
At
people
what
know.
point, how rude would it have been if they're like, yeah, great, congratulations, Will, now shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah, all
we
right,
wouldn't
have a
do
good
that
time
to
over
you.
there. Yeah, let's move forward.
Sure. No, you know what's funny though is that, like, again, 20 years of doing this, I could have let this entire podcast go by, and then all of a sudden Denise is like, all right, well, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Peace, everybody.
No, that's the okay. So here, look, Will, congratulations on 20 years. But you want to know what
I don't know if there's anything to congratulate there, but what's
No,
that?
of course there is. I was thinking, damn, Will's old. That's what I was thinking.
Wow. That's
First
cool.
off, I am the second youngest sitting here because I believe Phil is the oldest here, then Reg, then me, then Denise.
How sad. Phil's like dying of allergies, and now you're calling up the fact that he's the oldest person here.
You over there
Listen,
can't
man,
breathe, can't do nothing.
This guy, man. I was sitting here initially like, oh man, I gotta prepare things to say, and then I got on. I was like, oh wait, I forgot. Will is.
The game is back, baby. Come on.
We don't gotta say shit. We just stand here. We can just bob our heads the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Great job. Great job, buddy.
Well, Will, here's a question for you. 20 years of podcasting, because that's the celebration that we're celebrating here today. All right. So when you look back at that time, though, how do you feel about your overall 20 years? Like, you look back at it, you're proud. How do you feel?
Proud is not a word I'd use. Not of all of it. Well, okay.
20 years of doing anything is impressive.
I know, right? Look, when I met my wife, who I've been with 16 years, I remember saying to her, because I met her June 19th, 2009, right? And so like we're coming up on 2 days. 2 days from now would be the 16th anniversary of the day we met, and I remember.
Holy shit, hold on, pause. You know, I just realized I've known my husband longer than you've known your wife. 18 years. What the F? Sorry, when you said 2009, I was like, what?
Yeah, we met in 09. And, you know, it was just funny because I remember she was like, you know, kind of talking to me about my hobbies, things I do. And I had said that I had been doing a podcast for 4 years. And she said, wow, that's a really long time. And thinking about then, she said, that's a really long time. Mm-hmm. And now, 20 years later, I have done RBR, I did Grapsody, I did After the Week, I hosted Now Playing Now, I currently host AEW Unrestricted. It's just like, I don't know, it's almost just autopilot for me at this point. Like, I just sit down and I just do it.
I was going to make a joke.
Go ahead, Denise.
Come on, Denise.
There's been like 3 different times where I was gonna make a joke.
Denise, you need to get these jokes in. Don't be playing.
Come on, I wonder how often do we get to do this?
The moment has passed already. The moment has passed. All right, so let's talk about.
In you.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I will say, because I do want to answer the question, because as far as why I'm not all that proud of it is because, like, again, we've been. A lot of the landscape has changed, like I said. And there was a point where a lot of what we were doing in the podcast landscape was very like edgelord type content. And like, that's never been me. That's never been who I am or the type of stuff I like to even listen to or do. But it was like, okay, it's clearly what our audience is here for. And that's the stuff that I look back on and I'm like, oh God, I wish I hadn't said that on a podcast. Like, somebody stopped me at a show maybe like a year ago and recounted to me the story of my having lost my virginity. And I thought to myself, why did I tell that story on a podcast?
I know that story.
I know you know that story, but I'm like,
can I share some of the details?
No, I don't. No. Okay. No, because you're going to say the name because that's the only thing you're stuck on.
I won't say the name. I promise. I cannot out somebody like that. I won't do the name, but I do know.
I don't know if that's how you out somebody.
I do know that Will Washington lost his virginity the day Triple H came back, right, from his injury, the Raw day, the
January 7th, 2002. Yeah,
that was the day Will lost his virginity.
That is, and that's because it has the wrestling ties. Like, I've told that story, and I've told it on RBR, and it became like RBR lore to the point of where, like I said, somebody like stopped me a year ago remembering that story, and they had like every detail right that I had told, and I was like, why did I tell that story? And there's just a lot of stuff that it's like, I definitely I'm proud of the fact that, you know, when I left podcasting, or at least that podcast sphere, when I did the last episode of After the Week, and I remember saying how like I grew up in front of the audience, right? Like, you guys all
you became a man.
I did, right? I went from 17 to at the time Well, how old am I now? 30.
Yeah.
I'll be 38 this year.
Oh,
But like,
that was crazy.
right? But 20. It's the 20th anniversary, so I'm 37 right now.
Yeah.
And so I did grow up in front of the audience, and I like just thinking about the fact that I went through a lot, and there are times where I had told stories. I went from doing that show in my parents' basement to transitioning to my first apartment, and then from my first apartment to every other apartment I had after that, to buying a house, to buying this house. I did all of that in front of a microphone. And like I said, I'm not proud of all of it, but it is. I'm happy to have said that I could have done, or that I have done this for 20 years.
Listen, the gang's all here. Which one was your favorite? Which one was the best? Which one would you pick over all the others?
Well,
those are the pressing questions here.
That isn't a question I had, because my immediate question to this entire thing was, A, how does this guy remember the entire details of this story? That's a lot to remember. And then B, what works in your mind that you go, man, that was the day. Triple H, Madison Square Garden, jean jacket, leather. That was the day. Like, bro, what were you sitting in the crowd at Double or Nothing when MJF came back? Like, man, this takes me back. Like, what?
I remember that day. I remember that exact day. Was it before Triple H or after Triple H?
I have told Max that story actually, but
was it before or after? You didn't answer.
Was it before Raw or after Raw?
Before.
Okay. And I hope it wasn't Raw when it was.
I was about to say, was it a Monday Night Raw?
I hope it wasn't Raw after that. Oh, man.
I'm not retelling this story. I don't need to retell this story. Like, the whole point of this was that I didn't like telling this story. And here I am on a podcast again.
Now, if you don't answer the question, we're going to be left to our own imaginations about it. Will, did you?
No, it is one of those things that, like, obviously, like, in hindsight, I'm like, I was 14. Like, I had no business, especially as a parent of a 14-year-old now. I'm like, I was 14. I had no business, like, doing any of that at 14.
No, you did not have any business.
Somebody should have came in with the belt, just whooping everybody. This is crazy. 14? You shouldn't be talking about this on the show. We're influencing people. This is crazy.
I know. Yeah, no. I look, parent me is like, abstain, folks. That do not follow in my footsteps whatsoever.
Don't do it.
Just watch Monday Night Raw. Don't do Monday Night Raw.
Exactly.
I don't encourage that at all. I would never be on a podcast saying that.
This is how you know you're old, because a lot of people lose their virginity before they're 14.
Wait, old people? You're saying
Sure.
older generations lost their virginity like before 14 or at 14, like around there?
Older and current generation.
I don't know how old the kids are doing it these days. I have no idea.
I would not.
I have no idea. All right, we got a couple.
Look, I'm just saying this. Like, I'm like, as a parent today with a 14-year-old daughter, I'm like, I'm good on the entire idea of that even remotely coming up. Keep watching Disney Channel at 14. Keep, like, let's leave it there. I'm not interested in even that remotely being a thing.
A nun. You're okay with her becoming a nun and not going out and just even dating or anything.
Sure. But then I think about, like, what was I listening to at 14? And I remember at that time period.
Nelly.
No, not me. Are you kidding me? I had just gotten Mac 10 Banger Ball, right? And, like, that was what, so I was listening to that Mac 10 album, like, constantly. That was, like, what I had on loop. Is that red disc. It was the only album he released on Cash Money. And, that was the one that had...
you do really like that album.
Yeah, because it had Connected for Life on it. And so, I don't know. At that time period, the more hood, the better, as far as I was concerned. Like Nelly was too soft for me. I was like, I don't give a fuck about Nelly.
I was listening to Stillmatic pretty much every single day in 2002, I think. Yeah.
That makes sense.
What a time to be alive. What were you listening to, Denise?
What year?
2002.
Oh, Britney Spears.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Boy.
That's exactly what I knew you was gonna say. I was like, Britney Spears is about to.
Aguilera.
She is
That's
about
what
to
I
say
was
Britney
listening
Spears.
to. All right,
Yeah.
Britney was kind of washed in 02, wasn't she?
Well, because Toxic was 03, 04, so like probably not.
That's
Really?
what I was listening to.
I thought Toxic was
No,
like
I know.
01.
Was it? Maybe.
I
When
don't
did
know,
Toxic
but let's
come
go
out?
ahead and get into some of these super chats, though. We got John Taylor with a very generous one saying 20 YouTube
JT.
super bucks for 20 years of Will Washington. Also, last night when casting Grapcedo as the Golden Girls, I said Will was Dorothy, but Denise swears she's Dorothy. Regardless, we can all agree Reg is Blanche, right?
Definitely
yes, because Reg is a
Blanche.
hoe.
Big Blanche energy over here for sure. I will take that.
I'll take Dorothy. I will absolutely take
No,
Dorothy.
you're not allowed to be Dorothy. I'm Dorothy.
No, I want Dorothy.
Out. No, I'm Dorothy.
No, I think Will Washington might be Dorothy.
Why does Will get to be Dorothy?
Because he's Dorothy.
All right, then who am I? Do not say Rose.
I was gonna say it. I know you're gonna be mad
I do
though.
not want to be Rose.
Why can't you be Rose?
Because I don't want to be Rose.
You're annoying.
I'm just mad.
Hmm.
Why does Will get to have what he wants?
It's just
All
the
right.
way of life.
It's not
See,
fair.
I feel like there's a. All right, hold on. So, Rose is obviously the most beloved simply because Betty White, right? But at the same time, she also has the most innocence to her. And then you have those kind of moments that come out. And I'm going to say that's more Denise than me.
Huh? Have you seen the show,
Whatever.
Denise?
Well, I'm not even speaking to anybody right now.
And so I guess that makes Phil, because he's the oldest, Sophia.
Sophia.
And like Sophia will come in with a big zinger, and you'll be like, "Oh damn, Sophia cooked everybody." That's definitely Phil. Big Sophia.
So
energy.
then, yeah, I guess that makes. So then Reg is Blanche, and so by default, that makes me Dorothy. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can live with that.
I hate the roles that we put here. Anyways, whatever. The only one I agree with is Reg being Blanche.
Yes, Reg is Blanche. No question. Reg is Blanche.
Do not have to argue that one. There's no points to be made. It's just there.
We got Sheldon Jackson, by the way, who gifted 5 DWO
Sheldon,
memberships.
what's
Thank
up,
you
homie?
so much, Sheldon. We also got John here who says Denise ruined Bill Birmingham's return pop.
I know. I was like just looking down, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I'm on screen.
Yeah, it was like a second. Whatever.
Just looking down. That's not how you bring someone in, Denise.
Whatever. Should have been looking up then. All right, we got Sheldon Jackson here who says, congrats for 20 years of podcasting, Will, and thank you for adding to the lore of the Plan B Pillow Princess, Lisa, Dee Salcedo, Fatu. You've missed a lot while you were gone, Will. by the
I
way.
know. I was gonna say, what is the Plan B Pillow Princess?
It's a lot to go into. It would take me an hour to explain all
Too
of
much. Too long.
this. Yeah. By the
Because
way,
I will
Will,
tell you what that sounds like.
It's.
well,
I
what
mean,
it sounds
and-
like is what it is.
yeah.
Okay, Will, I have a question. I need to bring something up. Whether you like
Okay.
it or not, it's about to be brought up. So, I told this story on the air. I know you listen to our podcast sporadically, but you probably missed this one. Do
Probably.
you remember this car ride that you and I had? I think it was after the Mariah Carey concert. And I forgot what show was coming up, but Reg was going to be staying here at my house for the night. And I had said, like, oh, yeah, Reg is going to come and stay over. And you said, Denise, you better not replace me with Reg. If you replace me with Reg, I'm going to be so mad.
Great job, Dee Dee. Live on air.
Anyways,
I love it.
how do you feel about that now? In fact, I think
Yep.
Reg and I have been podcasting
Damn.
longer
Oh,
than
for sure.
you and I.
Summer Jam screen, Dee Dee. Great job. Great journey.
All right, that was
Man, this is Steve, man.
full
If
gear
I had to tell
23.
him what, I'd be like,
Of course it was Full Gear 2023. Of course Will would know exactly what it was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, look, I think it's. I know, legit. I think you guys have been a great combination. What I think is funny is that I can remember you guys knew each other the least, right? Like of all of us, you two knew each other the least at one point, and so that's what cracks me up is that it like went from like I remember three of us were at in Orlando, right? Orlando in March of 22, and we have this group picture together, and Reg and Denise are on complete opposite sides of this picture. I don't think they exchanged like one word that entire day.
Was that the one where we all shared the Airbnb?
No. Because
oh no, you're talking about the one where was it the one in Orlando?
Orlando, yeah.
Oh yeah, I ran.
Reg got to perform.
In the hall. Yeah, I ran into Reg in the hall, and I said, "Hey," and he said, "Hey."
Oh,
that was it. That's the most you guys. And so at the time, by November of 23, it was like I could see the dynamic forming. I could see it like becoming a thing. No, I'm really proud of you guys. I think you guys have
But Will, are
gelled
you
and
mad
meshed.
though? Are you mad?
No, not at all.
You said you would be mad if I replaced you with Reg.
I mean, think about the things that make me mad, Denise. Like, is that actually a thing I would be mad about?
So
I don't
mad.
know. I'm just asking.
I see it in his eyes. He's mad. Was that
Bill,
the one
do you
time
think
we
he's
were?
mad? Does Will look mad?
Yeah, do I look mad?
No, he says no. Okay, so no, it is.
Was
Fine,
that the time we were in the which show were we at, Denise, where we had to keep going out we had to keep
It was
going out of the arena to
Orlando.
text?
It was
That Orlando?
Revolution because they had bad Wi-Fi, and so I kept getting up to go tweet in the hallway. And every time I would go to the hallway, Reg was there too on his phone.
Yeah, I was trying to
nobody
tweet
was
too.
getting good reception.
And now that I think about it, Full Gear 23, that was your car breaking down, right?
No, that was in full. Was that Full Gear?
Yeah, because it was in the parking lot of the Kia
yeah.
Forum.
Too. You know, Will, I've held a grudge against you over that. You want to know why? Okay, so here's the story. So we're at Kia Forum, okay? And my car dies, the battery, right? And so I call Will, and he comes and he brings his car. And so we have to like jump start the car, right? Now, here's the thing. Will, you started having a conversation with fans that lasted the entire time that me and Reg were stressed trying to get the car to start.
Oh, sure.
Reg almost got electrocuted.
Almost died. Almost died.
Fucking spark.
I mean, that goes back to the beginning of this podcast. Like, that's...
Will, you didn't even notice. You were so deep into this conversation, you didn't notice that I was so stressed out and Reg almost died.
Almost died
and
two
you
times.
were talking to the fans. And I was like, fucking Will, like, we need some help. He should be over here helping us.
Denise, I have a something. There was something I didn't previously had told you.
What?
While I was in the car, I was charging my phone.
So it was your fault?
So what happened was I was charging my phone for a little bit too long, I think. And so when you came back, you were like, "Oh, the car," and I was like, "Oh shit, how did this happen?"
It's working. It's a miracle.
I was like, "Look, I'm not gonna own up to it. She got AAA. Like somebody's gonna come
I
get
had
us."
a feeling it was you because you were the one that was sleeping in the car.
Yeah,
and
I didn't wanna-
I was at the press conference.
Yeah,
and
I was
you were
like-
sleeping in the car, and I'm like, I don't know what Reg did. Maybe he left it on, but I chose not to say anything.
Same here. I was like, I'm not gonna say shit. I'm just gonna wait till we get help.
And then when people were making fun of me online that it was my fault for my car battery dying, I took the heat, Reg.
Yeah, and I was probably like, "Yeah, she did this. This is all her fault." And it was all my fault, 100%.
Man, we were just learning a lot about that night.
Okay,
Whoops.
no wonder you felt the need to actually bring the car back to life. You
Well,
felt
yeah, I
responsible.
had to help. I was like, I at least got to try to get this car
Those
some life
sparks
here.
that came out when you were doing the thing, that was the earth saying,
Yeah, it was
Reg, you
karma.
lied to Denise.
It was
You were
karma.
going to electrocute you.
So
It was
I will
like-
say this, because at least since I was like 13, I knew how to jumpstart a car. And so I was under the impression here that everybody knew what they were doing.
No! 2 times we saw sparks come out.
I know that what
Right.
I thought you guys knew what you were doing. Like literally, that's like I remember because I didn't exactly. I think everybody knows this about me. Like we grew up broke, right? And like we had cars that were like breaking down all the time, and so like I remember my mom constantly needing her car jumped by literal strangers at the grocery store parking lot. That was just like a thing all the time. And so at one point, like, yeah, I had to get good at connecting jumper cables, boom, 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 boom.
So this whole time you also knew how to do it?
But I thought every adult knows how to do that at this point.
He had his back turned to us. Like, he was so engaged with the fools, his back was turned. He didn't even care. He was just like, oh, yeah. And then I'm like, yo, we're about to die over here, I think.
Yeah, I'm just now picturing.
Oh, yeah, that I guess.
I picture the montage of you guys like running back and forth behind him trying to get this fixed, and he's like talking, and then like the Gap band Outstanding is playing over it.
To me, there's sparks flying in the back, there's people running around crazy. Yeah, that's what was going on.
I legit thought you guys knew.
I cannot believe it.
And look, even in the chat, like, people are saying that I see a super chat right here. Pull it up.
Which one are we looking at?
I see Hassan.
Hold on. There's a few. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Hassan Batla here says, I agree with Will. I thought everyone just knows. The answer is no.
No, it's not an everyone just knows.
It's like, okay, does everyone know how to change a tire?
No.
Not everyone. I mean,
I don't know how to change a tire. See,
I do.
So
yeah,
Will
I've been
is the
stuck on the
ultimate
side of the
dad.
freeway. So
No, but I wouldn't assume everybody knows how to change a tire.
yeah, I don't know.
I
mean, I know how, but I don't assume everybody does.
I don't want to be sexist either. I wouldn't assume that all women know how to change a tire either, though. Like,
I can't change a tire and I can't jump a car, so I'm setting everyone back.
Although there was one time, yeah, I'll never forget this. This was where were we? We were in.
Oh, I know what you're gonna bring up. San Francisco?
No, not San Francisco. No, this is a story since I've been with AEW. It was, and this story's been told on Unrestricted, so anybody who listens to Unrestricted would already know this story. But we were in South Haven, Mississippi, for a collision, and I was in an Uber. And it was a week my back was so messed up. Like, I couldn't move. I literally just needed to get to the trainer's office to get my back worked on because, like, I could not move, right? Mm-hmm. And, of course, I'm in the one time in an Uber that it gets a flat. And my driver is this lady who doesn't know how to change a tire. And I was almost screwed except for the fact that I happened to be riding with Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And Kip got out, changed the tire, and it was like this kind of miracle moment because it happened on the freeway too. So it's not even like all right, I'm gonna just get out and get another Uber, but because I'm like literally on the side of the freeway. Like, I thought I was screwed because it was one of those moments where like I could change this, but like I literally can't move. I'm
right.
So
like you got to bend down to change this.
Wait a minute. I thought when you started this story, you're gonna be like, well, and then miraculously I got up, my back was fine, changed this tire. Nope. You basically like probably like rolled over in the seat. Kip Sabian jumps out and probably like starts doing the jack and stuff with his bare hands, and you're like, oh, well, I'm fine. Kicks his feet up. It got nothing to do with me.
There was a thank you in there.
Yeah. Penelope Ford.
Yeah. No, legit. He
in there like, what a man, like a big hard eyes, and you're like, oh, thank God I don't have to do anything.
What a man.
No, that was his moment to do his thing. So thank you, Kip. I'll always appreciate that.
We got Roberto Arsenal here who says, ooh, who has the better wrestling memory, Will or Tony Khan? Ospreay is my favorite current wrestler at the moment. I can only name 10 to 11 of his 5-star matches. I think both you and Tony have like scary memories when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna make a pick there.
Thank you, Robert. Well, I think it's cool that you
probably Tony though, just because he's older than me, and so like his recall for stuff from eras that I maybe was either too young or wasn't watching wrestling. Like his recall for that is.
I can't remember what happened last week. Don't even ask me what happened last week. We got John Taylor here who says, back in the early 2000s, losing your cherry may have been Raw, but these days it needs to be Dynamite.
All right.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, John. Elijah Brody, thank you for becoming a brand new member. John also says, FYA, I think you missed a $10 super chat sent before my first super chat. I can't remember who sent it, but it was the first one sent on the stream. I will go back and look for it. Thank you so much, John. Hassan Batla here says, I agree with Will. Oh, I already read that one. John says, I feel a lot of healing happening here. Secrets confessed, friendships reforged, Grapcedo is back.
Sure. I mean, look, I hope all of the healing happens on this podcast. I hope we get everything out. Why not?
Fine, what else do you got to say?
Who knows?
Look, what else has been on your mind that you've been wanting to say?
And another thing.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Because, people secretly think me and Will hate each other.
They do.
Wait,
no, there's no...
Will and Will?
No, there's been like a contingency of our fan base that thinks we hate each other.
Yeah,
Also,
that's definitely not a thing.
At all.
Okay. Also, there's no other $10 super chat. I read all of them. Yeah, so they're all on here. Just making sure. All right. Thank you, John. We got.
Yeah, what I do.
Sorry. Go for it, Will.
Oh no, I'm like super lagged. So you just read that super chat.
No, we got you. We're good. What were you gonna say?
Okay. Because that seemed to take forever to get a response on. No, what I was going to say is, I don't know. Like, I don't have. There's no beef. If anybody thinks there was like ever any beef with anybody on this screen, that was literally never the case. And honestly, for the most part, in my podcasting history, like there hasn't been a whole lot of, at least on my part, any negativity. Now, I will say I'm like slightly bitter over the fact that there's, so, obviously it's 20 years. Been doing this a long time, and I wanted to celebrate and do this podcast today. And so, I did RBR 16 years, right? And I am, leaving RBR was one of those things where I did it because of the fact that I just wasn't mentally where that show was. I felt like right around the pandemic, there was this shift that was happening in wrestling podcasts where there was a lot of enthusiasm around things. There's a lot of enthusiasm around what AEW was doing. And then at the same time, there's a lot of enthusiasm around the bloodline. There was so much enthusiasm around pro wrestling. And suddenly there was this kind of new phase of the way content was being presented. And I felt like RBR kind of hit its peak really around like 2014. I want to say that was that year that I still have the screenshot where Apple had tweeted out about the top wrestling podcasts, and they had tweeted out Stone Cold's podcast, Ric Flair podcast, Colt Cabana, and RBR. And I was like, oh man, like to even be in that echelon of podcasts felt really good, right? Like that to me, I think is like peak time for RBR. And then right around like beginning of 2021, I really started feeling like, okay, I think there's a new energy that I want to bring to wrestling podcasts. And I don't think I had initially tried to get RBR to shift that direction, and it didn't. And so it was like, okay, clearly there's a direction I want to go, and they don't want to do it. But I have fun talking to Reg. I have fun talking to Phil. I know what we're going to do. And that's where things kind of got rolling. And then I started doing podcasts with Denise. And it was fun, right? And I was having so much fun at that time period. And then RBR kept going until last year. And then they rebooted and they're doing a new podcast now. For the most part, I don't hold any animosity over anything. But I'm slightly annoyed over the fact that I yesterday went into the Facebook group that I'm still in for the I guess their new podcast, so what RBR rebooted into, but it's the same Facebook group that we had back when it was RBR, so I'm still a member of it. And I shared that we're doing this podcast today to celebrate 20 years, and somebody deleted it. And so I'm like just ever so slightly miffed over the fact that Clearly, somebody was like, I don't want you promoting that shit here. And
What do we walk into?
I know, right?
What's happening here?
Phil, you weren't here when I said I was going to tell this story.
What's going on?
This is like any reunion ever, guys. The dirt is coming out.
So no, that's it. Like, I don't know what else it is. It was just that, hey, why did that get deleted? So like, I was like annoyed by that because I don't know who deleted it, and I'm not even gonna ask. Like, at this point, it's just like, okay, very clearly somebody has an annoyance over this thing being promoted. So fine, all right.
Get that up.
But beyond that.
Not up in our group chat. Not up on our message board.
Somebody saw that picture of the three of us, the Grapcedo picture, and went nope and deleted it.
Delete.
Damn, we're controversial. Damn.
Apparently so.
Well, here's my second question, though.
We've been
Why did people
deleted out of a lot of group chats.
Wait, what? Wait, repeat what you said. I didn't hear
I
it.
said we've been deleted out of a lot of group chats. It's not really a
Oh, I'm not in a group chat, so there's that.
bang bang. Get those guys out
I
of here.
have like
All the
50
way out of
group
here.
chats that I started one time and then never went back to. By the way, Will, why don't you ever respond on the group chats?
Do you know how many
But
group chats I'm in?
I know, but I
Yeah, he tried
started
to flex
them
on
and
you instead of
never
answering the
ever
question. He was
comment
like,
on
man,
them.
I'm in better group chats than this. I ain't got to
Mhm.
Denise, do you see that? Hold on. Ready? Let's let that
It
number
tells
kill her.
me you're unorganized. You should not have that many unread messages, Will. Go read your messages.
I read them for the most part, but there are a lot that are just like in these big group chats.
Okay, then leave the group chat. And put a star next to my name.
Can't.
Put a star next to my name so that you get to see the messages that I send.
I've been trying to figure out how to process a question to this because I sat here in the beginning of this story and I was like, where's he going with this? And we got to the conclusion of it. I was like, wait, okay. So I guess my question is, what are you looking to get out of telling that story?
I don't know. I just wanted to tell it.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause the funny thing about everything you were saying, like, I do think, like, at a certain time period, the message board era, that's what it was, getting on the message boards and, like, trashing wrestling, or
Yeah,
you're going to the
sure.
internet and trashing wrestling. So that then went over to podcasting. You got a podcast and then talk shit about wrestling. But I think you're right. There was this era where, hey, man, this is a lot of fun to just get together in this communal space and talk about wrestling. It just completely changed. So I could see that, but
Well, like I said, it was like I found myself not wanting to just be negative. Like I found myself not wanting to talk about anything negative at that point. There's around 2020, 2021, like that's not to say that I like everything that's ever taken place. Like that's not the case. It just became and Reg, you can attest to that. Like, it's not about liking everything that takes place in front of you, but it was just more about like, it is so much more fun to buzz about the things I love than to bitch about the things I hate. And
my response to that is, why was I given a hard time for the things that I liked? Did you guys? Every time I was like, hey man, I like Bray Wyatt. Nah, man, you like this Bray Wyatt stuff? Like, wait a minute, what happened to I don't want to be negative?
again, it's not about liking everything.
I will say this. I feel like Phil and Will, you guys have the most difference of opinions on pretty much everything in pro wrestling.
Sure.
Not everything, but most things. So I'm assuming that's why people thought you guys had heat.
In general.
And look, in general, I mean, and here's the funny thing is that obviously it's been 2 years and some change since I've been in this space, and I think, how do I put this? I don't think any of my opinions are the same as they were 2 years ago. I think there's a lot of stuff that in just kind of learning how the sausage is made that all of a sudden I might have different taste in sausage than I did before. And that's, I guess.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Denise.
I mean, come on. Insert.
Oh, it
dick
didn't
joke right
register.
there,
Yeah, it didn't
okay?
register at first. He likes the way the sausage tastes. That's
I
crazy.
mean, that's all I heard. That's all I heard.
So you're saying 2 years ago you wouldn't have liked the Pretty Girls Will Smith song, but today, like, life is just different.
Oh, are you kidding me? I love that song. 2 days ago, I didn't love that. 2 days ago, I didn't love that song.
It was the tempo change. I think it was
No,
the tempo change.
no, honestly, I don't even agree with that idea of the tempo
No?
change, by the way. No, like,
Ain't gonna hit.
I'm honestly just, it was probably, why did my son's PlayStation just turn on?
Oh my gosh, there's a ghost in your house, Will.
No, I think he's remotely logging into it right now, and yep, he just started Fortnite. Like literally, Fortnite just turned on my son's PlayStation.
Is he at school, boy?
No, he's over at his grandparents' house, but he's clearly remoting into his PS5 right now. Yes, you can.
Damn.
And
Wait,
he
so
is.
he's at his grandma's
Video
house,
games are
and you're
crazy.
seeing his PlayStation stuff right now from your
Yeah.
house.
Yes, because he's remoted into his PS5, and yep, I'm seeing him navigate the screen, and he
Video
is.
games are nuts, man.
And he's jumping into a game of Fortnite like right now.
That's crazy. I didn't even know you could do that.
You used
So
to have to
I'm
turn
like
to
blown
channel
away
3
right
to
now.
turn a
Have
video
y'all
game
been?
on.
Yeah, this is
I don't know about this.
look. This is how kids today now they get their console on any screen they could possibly want to play on. Like he had asked me a few months ago. He wanted to get a PlayStation Portal, which. Okay, I gotta like mute this or something. Give me a
All
second.
right,
This
I'm
is
gonna
like
go
really
into the
annoying me.
next super chat.
Yeah.
We got Corey MacArthur. Corey, what is up? It's our most stylish member of the DWO. Says, for the Grapcedo reunion, thank you, Will, for your creative. Oh, I'll read this one when Will comes back since he's not here. Hold on. I'll come back to that, Corey. I want to make sure that Will's here for that. We got Deontay Swainier who says, all love to 4 of the best peeps ever.
What's up, Deontay?
Will, I wanted you to be here for this super chat as well. So thank you so much to Deontay Swainier. We also got Corey MacArthur here who says, for the Grapcedo reunion, thank you, Will, for your creative at AEW and all that you do at AEW with Unrestricted. Grateful for all 4 of you and celebrate the 20 years with you while I work. Feel better, Phil. What's up, Denise and Reg? Corey's always one of the best people, super positive, super kind. So thank you so much, Corey. And I hope that you're having a nice, good day at work. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you for checking out Unrestricted. I appreciate that.
Deontay Swinier says, all love to the 4 best peeps
Go on,
ever. We also got Meet Normus, who says, asking for her friend Meet Mayhem going to happen. Well, since, Will's like, likes all the sausage.
He likes the sausage, yeah. He might. He likes to mix the meats up, as they say.
We're never going to let you live that down.
Please, I just don't care.
Sausage
Hey,
boy.
I have a question, Will, and I want you to be honest with me, okay?
Uh-huh.
Like, do not lie to the people,
Wow.
all right?
I'm looking at your
This
face
is the
right now.
most important question that I'm ever going to ask you.
All right.
I bet not.
Do you still order churros from Jack in the Box?
That's crazy. Definitely.
No, I have not had a churro. I have not had Jack in the Box since that day.
Damn, good
but
for you.
I was trying to think, like, when's the last time I had Jack in the Box? And I was like, it had to have been there.
I probably had it like 4 times since then.
I will say I have to call out an entire country though, because
Let me
take
me off the screen, I think.
I will say that
Now you want to get taken off the screen, not before. Like I don't know if I can get this.
last
Sorry, I had to.
I love it.
It's hella funny.
Oh man.
so last August I was in London and I saw a churro stand and I ordered a churro in London and
This is on
Maybe-
you
Ordered a
already.
churro in London?
This is on you already, Double Dub. No, I'm not letting London. You ordered a churro in London.
look, it's not that it was bad, but it's very clear that you guys are like so far removed from Mexico that it's like
Nah, bro.
Really far.
This was your fault. I don't want to hear nothing.
All on
I'm
you,
not gonna let
dog.
you slander London. I'm not gonna let you slander the United Kingdom. This is on
Listen,
you.
I thought you was gonna come with beans on toast Twitter, then I was gonna be like, all right, I'm with you. But you talking about a churro out there?
I mean, look, there's a number of things. Look, I mean, everybody always talks about the food when they're over in the UK, and like it's really simple. Like we oversalt our food in the United States, and we're addicted to it. And so the second you get over there and you eat what's supposed to taste normal, you're like, where's the flavor, right? It feels like somebody like turned the volume down on your food. And so, but the churro was like fascinating because I was like, okay, I can see this tastes like how somebody may have described a churro to somebody, and then they were like, oh yeah, I can make that, and that's like the best you're gonna get here.
Yeah. That was all on you. This reminds me of that LA trip, and the whole time he's like panicking, trying to get back home. This flight just keeps getting canceled or delayed, and I was like, "What's going on with this flight?" And so eventually he goes, "Yeah, man, never spirit again." I was like, "See, man, I didn't know that part. You
That was a wild time.
It was a very last minute thing, but yeah, you're right. And never again, and I have not again since then, and never will.
Would you get some soul food in Ireland? What's gonna be next? Gotta be a line.
Look, eventually, I found the things I liked over in the UK. It's just interesting. Like I said, it was this big churro stand, and they were like, "Hey, come get your churros," and I'm like,
"Who was behind the stand?" Is my question. Like you saw the people and you were like, yeah, let me get one. There's no way you saw anybody back there that should be making churros. You know? You were like, oh yeah, give me one, Hector. You know what I mean?
Were they saying, mate, come get your churro?
You get your churro, mate. Yeah. This is on you, Double Dub. We're not gonna let you slander the good name of UK food with the UK churro.
That's wild. So Will, you got a bad track record for ordering churros from the wrong places.
Yeah, I guess that completes the story, huh, Denise? He just be ordering churros anywhere. He don't care about nothing.
Look, for the most part, I thought it was very difficult to get churros wrong. And because I will tell you, some of the best churros I've ever had were in Texas, and this was last July.
That's not a far stretch. So.
No. That makes perfect sense. Like, this is just absolute best. Nothing wrong. Perfect amount of flavor. Perfect crisp. Perfect amount of soft breadiness as well. Like, this is perfectly made churros.
It's
like
Texas, bro. It's right there. It's right next to Mexico.
Yes.
I've never had a best churro in California, like ever. I don't think I ever will. I don't think I can. You could go to like the fair. You could go to McDonald's. Like if it's in California, it's a churro. It's gonna hit. Get it from somebody outside, unless it's from Jack in the Box. Yeah. Really some people will roll by with like just a bag that has them. You want some churros? Like yes, lady. Let me get one.
Well, we got John Taylor here who says, well, I have the attention of Will. I feel the need to give some feedback about AEW. Ooh. He says AEW has been fantastic this year, and this might be my favorite year of AEW wrestling ever. I appreciate the work.
Appreciate the feedback.
Thank you so much to John Taylor. What else do we got here? We got Benny the Bear. Benny, what is up? Says, I just wanted to say, much like Wu-Tang, the contributions to podcasting and wrestling infotainment will be felt a long time, both individually and together. Thank you all, and congrats, Will. That's very nice. Thank you so much, Benny the Bear.
That's really dope.
We also got Jim here who says, sausage, now churro. This seems to be a pattern.
I mean, it's sounding crazy.
It's crazy. I mean,
Thank you, Jim.
The irony also that because I've been thinking about this also, the RBR transition to Grapsody and how, like, we recorded that episode. That was Revolution. We did the post show for, right?
Yeah, you were on RBR that time. Yeah,
that was the exploding barbed wire death match. So we did that episode, and I remember afterwards we sat and had a long conversation, and I was like, man, I don't know, man. Me and Reg, we have conversations like this all the time. It almost feels like we have our group discussion about how difficult it is to be black men in this space. And so it kind of felt like the three of us eventually came together and had those conversations in another group chat. And that is kind of the making of our podcast before the podcast.
Yeah.
It all was just like, this space is weird. We should help. And then that's what happened. Legit. I was just like, people are moving through without integrity. We should add integrity. There's still people moving through without integrity. But I wanted to make sure that I was bringing integrity to the game. And that's why I'm still here.
Yeah.
We got John Taylor here who says, Reg, instead of just an ice cream truck, you should do an ice cream truck and churro truck. Yo, Will be like your most loyal customer.
Dude, if I roll through my ice cream truck in Will Washington's neighborhood, I'm cleaning up. I know he running out there.
Will, do you know about Reg's dream?
Yeah, that's what. Eventually, Will Washington, I'm gonna get an ice cream truck, and I'm just gonna drive that. Like, that's gonna be my life. You know what I mean? Custom music.
What's the music gonna be? That was my first thought.
Custom music, Will Washington. Come on.
Like, what do you envision coming out of it? Is it just like you rapping about ice cream?
I was thinking of like remixing the classic ice cream jams. You know what I mean?
Would you do like? Okay. See, my thought was, do you remember Mr. Ice Cream Man, Master P?
Well, I don't want to be rolling through neighborhoods playing that. Is my first thought, because you roll through playing Mr. Ice Cream Man, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Come get your ice cream. They're like, "No."
I thought that was just going to be the entire set list for it. Mr. Ice Cream Man, Mr. Curve, the entire set list.
Yeah, no, it should just be that beat. You should just pull up and boom, 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 boom.
I don't know if the right clientele is going to be trying to get my ice cream and Mr. Ice Cream Man beat the whole time.
You got to make sure it's good.
I would probably run from that ice cream truck.
Certain neighborhoods it's going to go off. Not every neighborhood. Like when I get, over here in Oakland, I could play that. Now I probably also wouldn't play that over here too.
I got to bring up something. I don't know how I always managed to jump on a podcast with you guys, and somehow, some way, we end up talking about Silk the Shocker. But I have to say, now that song's playing in my head, that's probably Silk's best verse. Like, now that I think about it, now let's see who owes me cash. I got to go to the grind and get it.
He tries to be on beat on there a little bit.
Like, now that I think about it, that's probably the most functional Silk the Shocker verse. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. That's the one where he rides the beat at least. Kinda. With his version of it.
Yeah, that's a low bar.
That is a low bar.
I don't know.
We got Sheldon Jackson here who says, Denise, don't forget to tell Will off air the multiple stories of your name, but Will should know the story of Salcedo already. Remember the story of Skeet in your house, Will?
Yo,
and who
what?
didn't know? Oh, yeah, Salcedo came from me not knowing the Skeet term that happened in your house in that room that you're in.
Yeah, literally, we're sitting right here in these chairs.
Southskedo is crazy.
What? No, the thing that irked me the most was that we went upstairs and Will was like, everybody, guess what? Denise doesn't know. And I was like, you have to tell the whole world about it.
Yeah, we all.
I mostly just wanted your husband to know. I was like, how could this happen?
You told everybody. You told your wife. You told, were your kids there? They were probably there.
No, my kids were not there. And my kids also would not know what that means.
I'm going to break this to you. I bet one of your kids knows what skeet means.
Oh, I hope not.
I would bet good money on this.
There were multiple people, and I swear they multiplied in the room while you were telling this story.
You know what's funny is the other day we were having a conversation about the dumbest thing. It was on Father's Day. On Father's Day, they were making me breakfast, and Billy goes, he offers me some. This story keeps multiplying, right? So they're making eggs, and I'm offered some sausage, and
of course you are.
And so I just, of course, being a
Daddy,
product.
would you like some sausage?
Yes.
Daddy,
would you like some sausages? Right. So it immediately comes to me, and Veda's like, "What is that from?" And I was like, "It's from Freddy Got Fingered." Yeah. And Billy's like, "What is fingered?"
Fingered?
And
no!
And he's like, is that like flipping somebody off? And I'm like, no, that is not what that means. That is absolutely not what that means. And
right?
So Billy was like we're all just kind of laughing, and Billy's like, Vader, you don't know what it means, and she's like, actually, I do. And look, at 14, I would expect her to at least know, right?
I see her as a baby.
I know, right? And
she has the internet, of course. Like, how do you know?
She's a 14-year-old. You know what 14-year-olds are listening to right now?
I mean, think about everybody here. Pause and take a second and think about what you were doing at 14.
We had talked about that already.
I definitely knew what finger
We know what Will was saying.
You know what's funny is
No, just kidding.
I think what's funny is I had to, and you guys know this story because I sent you the video, but I, on the last day of school, volunteered at Veda's 8th grade dance. And again, talking about the things that 14-year-olds are doing and talking about. When the DJ played Rich Baby Daddy, and I hear Sexy Red's voice shout, bend that ass over, make that coochie breathe. And all of these 14-year-olds are not only bending over, but shouting that at the top of their lungs.
They know the words. That's why I'm like,
they knew all the words. And me and another adult there were just like, what is happening here? How is this 8th grade dances? How can this be?
Oh, yeah, we're old.
But it is.
We're old now because that's how we see the world. I remember 8th grade dances. Oh, yeah. I was like,
What
get
happened?
low, get low.
What happened to Kids Bop?
Bro, Kids Bop freaking stunk, man. That shit was so lame.
Nah, I'm bullshitting. I was dancing to Too Close at my dare dance. Like, it doesn't. Like, it goes back a long time. You know what I mean?
I learned to get low at middle
The thing
school
was
dances.
getting hard at the dare dance. It's fine.
Man, what was like, because when I was in the 8th grade, that was the year that Dynasty came out, Jay-Z. And so I remember at our 8th grade dance, yeah, it was I Just Want to Love You was like the hit that year. That's it. That's what I remember.
yeah, no.
Well,
In
then the
8th
Ying
grade-
Yang Twins came out and took over.
Yeah, around 8th, 7th grade, I knew a lot of friends that had the first Lil' Kim album. I remember the cover of the Lil' Kim album. I remember it used to be a thing, opening your CD wallet, and friends had the Outkast CD. And if you remember what the front of the Outkast CD looked like, yeah, I remember all of these things from that time period.
Mine's is rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. Insert of the Gangsta Boo where she was, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Man.
Took me a sec. I knew exactly what you were talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Man, life.
There was an issue of The Source too,
happening
Gangsta
in my
Boo in
brain?
it, and that's I think about that one a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, Gangsta Boo.
So what do you guys got going on?
No idea what Gangsta Boo is.
Denise don't know what nothing. We just
Yeah,
talked
I
about a
was
bunch of
like,
stuff she didn't know nothing
That
about.
sounds nice.
Okay, all right. Well, let's dive into something that Denise definitely don't know about. Because I asked you guys last night to make a list.
Oh yeah, but you did tell me you planned
So
to do this.
right, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think every black person has gone through this at some point. But I wanted to make a list.
She's so silly.
I don't fit in.
All right, here we go. I want you guys' top 5 things that you thought were black growing up that are absolutely not.
My first one is I'm gonna go wrestling. Taz.
Yep.
I swear,
Taz was black. He was so
Yeah.
tan. I mean, it was
He
just
was-
something about him, the way he carried himself. Yeah, Taz.
Dude, first time I saw him, like, man, this is one of us. He jumping fools on their head. He talk hard. He from New York. I'm like, this guy, like, what? I don't.
Shout out Taz. Yeah.
As soon as I found Johnny B. Bad a bunch, I'm like, wait a second, we are being fooled. These are just super tan.
Well, it's funny you said that because that's my number 5 is Johnny B. Bad. There was no question to me Mark Merrill was a black man. Like, I didn't even, like, it wasn't even like, no, there wasn't even a question. Like, that man was black. Like, he was Little Richard. Like, that was who I thought he was.
That's so funny that you say there's no question. I actually kind of
looked a little Mexican too, though.
I mean, he did have his little, because he had the
shag,
like,
I feel like depending on how you look at it, he can also pass for Latino. Well, I don't know what his whole background is, but look at that.
That is a white man.
That is a white man.
I mean, he literally looks like my husband's dad. Okay, literally. Like, I ain't fucking around.
Yeah. He looks like my husband's dad.
He does. We have this running joke in the house every time we see Rick Rude on TV. We're like, "Oh yeah, hey, that's your dad."
Ooh, brother.
Every time I think about Mark Merrill, I think about the interview where he's like, "Man, I found out Sable had moved on. Wait till I see this guy." Then found out it was Brock Lesnar. Like, "Oh hey, Brock, man, hey, like you, bro."
You don't want to wait to see that guy. You're gonna die.
We got.
What about?
Oh, sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say Phil. Who do you got?
I'm glad that the Spider-Man show fixed this, because for the longest time I was like, why does Norman Osborn have waves? I was like, mixed or something. Why does his hair look like that? Why does he have waves? And so in the new Spider-Man cartoon, he is black, and I was like, okay, great. Somebody finally fixed this. And not surprised, the maker of that show, Jeff Tramiel, is a black man.
So he was a white man with waves before.
I always assumed he was black. Or something, mixed or something.
Is there more to your list, Will?
Oh yeah, we got a whole list. But since Reg had started, I felt like that's the rotation now.
My next one, it could be a controversial take. Newport 100s. Are we doing things like that? I didn't know how far I didn't know how far we were going, because like from birth I was like, oh, there's cigarettes just for black people. Like, magazine that my mom has. You can get a shirt and stuff. Like, I thought that these were cigarettes for black people.
You can get a shirt.
That's it. That's all. Get a Newport hat. Like, I just thought they were specifically made for us. Like, I don't know. Newport's like,
I don't even know if we ever told you that story, Will, of the guy we saw in a Newport shirt in Vegas.
No, I never heard this story.
No.
I didn't know if these were specifically for us. Like, I still don't know. Like, I know that they probably made these to kill us, but like at first I thought that they were Newports. That's it. That's all.
I did always think about the Newport logo as an upside down Nike swoosh, and now that I'm seeing the carton, it reminded me, because my brother smoked Newports, and now that I'm thinking about this, that's why it cracked me up, because it was just like every black male who or I guess with you it was your mom too, but like who transitioned into deciding to smoke cigarettes always was like Newports.
Newports, just a black thing.
No, not my mom. My mom was very bougie with her cigarettes. It was it Benson and Hedges? That's what she smoked. It was like that gold box. I knew the whole thing because I used to go and buy her cigarettes all the time.
Which is wild. When they could send their kid to buy cigarettes,
can't do that no more.
Be so different.
you gotta show ID to get cigarettes now.
Well, since we're along these topics, and I will say thanks to new media, much like Phil mentioned, for rectifying this. But Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog, those were dreads to me as far as I was concerned. That was exactly how I always saw Knuckles. You bring Knuckles up on screen. Like, literally, you look at the falling down the side, those were dreads to me. Knuckles was a black character to me, and casting Idris Elba to play him in the movie made perfect sense. I thought, all right, finally, we're getting him a black voice. That is who Knuckles is supposed to be.
Yep.
There we go. Look at that. No, Knuckles was always black to me. And, I mean, Sonic as a whole, because we had like Jaleel White playing Sonic through the 90s and like all of that. The whole concept of Sonic felt black to me, but Knuckles especially was a black character to me.
We actually, sorry, Will. We actually got a few from the chat here, by the way. We have Michael Dominguez who says Johnny Z No Senor played at our middle school dancers. And then we also had let's see, John Taylor says, until I saw the music video, I thought Rick Never Gonna Give You Up. Ashley was black.
Yeah, that was Righteous Brothers for me. I was like, wait.
Yep.
Well, when I saw them, I was like, wait, these are the Righteous Brothers?
Somebody said Bobby Caldwell in the chat.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Oh, Bobby Caldwell's the easy way. Yeah.
Yeah, like what, brother? Come on.
And then Hassan Butler says, miss my chat, but I'm more mad at the trash song choice. Our vulgar songs were way better back then. Hassan, we did catch your chat earlier. Not sure if you missed it, but we definitely read yours earlier. So afterwards, you can rewind just a little bit there.
We're just old.
We also got LaRon Ford here. LaRon, thank you so much.
What's up,
He
LaRon?
says, Grapcedo is in the building. Congrats, Will, on 20 years of podcasting. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, LaRon Ford. All right, who's next on the list?
Is it me? It's on me.
Mhm.
I feel like it's kind of a cheat because so many people say it now. But the Goofy movie, everybody thought like this is the story of a black dad and his son. Like, and Tevin Campbell, the soundtrack, like everything about this felt black.
It felt super black. Yeah, watching it, it felt like a better movie because it felt like, well, there's some kind of part of us in this, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like I used to watch that movie every day, like to the point of where it almost doesn't feel right watching it today if I don't have like the previews from the VHS on it because I watched it like that much.
No, if you get the music video beforehand, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, what is it? Dr. Looney's Remedy by Parachute Express? Like that was part of the experience of watching a Goofy movie. But yeah, that absolutely a black movie. I mean, like Roxanne was probably mixed. Like, look at the hair. But other than that, like that is a black movie.
And the nose. My next pick is also a cartoon pick. It's gonna be the homie Doug Funny's best friend, Skeeter. There's no way he walks around the neighborhood beatboxing. There's no way that this guy wasn't black. Doug be like, "What's up, Skeeter?" Be like, "What's up, Doug?" I'm like, "Nah, this guy like Doug is fresh."
Wait, if I Google Skeeter, is it gonna be inappropriate?
Put Doug next to it.
Yeah, probably first.
Doug Skeeter. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Skeet. Look at that haircut.
I was about to just put Skeeter, so I wasn't sure what was gonna pop up.
You probably would have gotten him, but yeah. You know what? I don't think you're wrong, honestly. Like, there's no way that is a black kid.
Beatboxing. Look, he playing he got the turntables right there. Like this guy. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. That was Doug's black best friend.
And his name, Skeeter. Like, there's no like, what kind of a name is that?
By the way, we got Mr. Acosta here who says, I thought Pink was light skin.
Yeah, Pink was
Nah,
fine.
bro. Pink's light skin phase, bro.
Mhm.
She had some records too.
She did.
No.
All right. Next one on my list. We're going X-Men now. Nightcrawler. I thought Nightcrawler. I mean, you look at this character, and like, it doesn't matter.
Germany.
I know. I thought he was just like a black man from Germany. But specifically, pull up the top one, like the one on the top left, Denise. Like this character, yeah, that one right there. That character looks black to me. Like when I was a kid, I'm like, that is a black man
with a perm.
Sheldon Jackson here says Francine from Arthur.
Yeah, I can see that too. But no, Nightcrawler though. I thought Nightcrawler was black. I thought that like in the X-Men video game, he was the one I always wanted to play as in the Sega Genesis one. He was the character, he was my go-to. But a big part of that was that I thought this was supposed to be a black character.
Right.
This guy is very clearly German. Like every media he's in, he speaks German.
He's German.
Look, little kid me, that didn't matter. Or at least to little kid me, I didn't quite understand the idea that at least
black Germans.
Yeah, that was my thought, was that, hey, you know, that's just the nationality. We're not talking about ethnicity. Mm-hmm. Look at him, Nightcrawler. That is a black man, Nightcrawler.
Who's next?
Phil.
Gunther. That's who's next. According to WWE Raw. Yeah, I was watching this, and this is just the naivety to me at the time, and like getting older and understanding how business works. I was like, and one is made by black people. It's not. It's made by 3 white men.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Wait,
I definitely
what am I
thought.
searching for?
Yeah, I gotta search for it. I mean, we all know that the and one brand.
So yeah, I
In
thought
one
like
brand?
yeah, and one. If wait,
And one.
I'd have to
And
explain to
one.
you what and one is, Denise, which is hilarious. And one at the time was like it was like a brand for like hoopers, bro. Like they came out with the shirts with like the trash talk on it at first, then it eventually had shoes, and then that turned into like the street basketball tour and the show that was on ESPN. But like everything about it was so black that I was like, this is made by black people, and it's not. It's made by 3 white people.
Damn, I guess I never thought about it, but that fucks me up.
Yeah, there's a good documentary about it on Netflix, and that's how I
Oh,
like, hey,
yeah.
huh?
I've been meaning to watch that. That's
All
crazy.
right, Reg, what do you got?
My next one is another thing. Old English 800. Like I thought that again, they made a beer specifically for black people. Only black people can buy it, only in black neighborhoods. I only see these in my life, a big 40 ounce of these, and only time I seen them, it was either my mom or the hardcorest gangsters you ever seen in your entire life.
Never.
Seen these. I think these are these like the general 40s that go around? Because I think my friends in school had these.
Well, there's like because this is like malt. This is like it's a little bit different than like a regular beer because people will be drinking like a 40 of Mickey's probably.
Okay. All I knew is the 40s because my friends would be like, let's go to the park and drink 40s. And I was like, hell no.
Don't do it. With Denise, they were telling you that, Denise?
Yeah.
I know that Denise.
Were they your friends?
What? This sounds
I'm
like
a good girl.
This sounds like the scene from Clueless. They were doing the rolling with my homie.
Yeah. There's crazy times out there.
Man.
All right. My next answer is again, we're going along characters, but I want you, Denise, to specifically Google. You have to be very specific here because as a black kid, I grew up with a Sega Genesis. A lot of kids from the 90s were Sega Genesis kids. It was the cheaper console, and this is just what we had.
Better console,
but specifically, Kano from Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis, and it was probably just because of the coloring of him. Because you look up Kano from Mortal Kombat, you're gonna be like, look, you're an idiot. This is clearly a white guy. But like specifically on Sega Genesis, look at that guy, the top left, right there. Look at that image right there. That right there was a black man. Tell me that's not a black man right there.
That guy that was throwing knives and like that guy throwing knives at people.
But the image,
correlation though.
the image that Denise has pulled up right there, like, tell me that you wouldn't have thought as a kid that is a black male.
I don't know if I immediately made that one.
See it on this one.
No, like look at like the shadow that's behind his head. I thought was like a little afro, like on the second image.
You thought he had like the Sherman Hemsley going?
Yes,
He got the Sherman. He does look like he kind of got the Sherman though.
that's what I thought it was.
He's got the Stephen A. He's got the Stephen A.
The long back.
That's hilarious.
Kano. Oh man.
Who's next?
Woo, Phil.
Goldberg.
Did I just go? Wait.
No, I did Kano.
See, I'm trying to think of my entire list. Well, me and Rex both had Taz, so I already said that one. I don't think I had another one. I'm trying to think.
Did you have another one, Reg?
No, I think I'm striking out too. I had 4 too.
All right, then I got my last one,
Yeah, let's get to the last one.
and this was we're going along Doobie Brothers lines, but Michael McDonald until I actually saw what he looked like, and it's maybe because like I had heard Regulate before I heard what is it, Every Time You Leave. So of course I thought just hearing his music that he was a black man making very obvious black soul music, and that is the whitest man on earth. Like you talk about like when people talk about Bobby Caldwell and how much that threw them off. No, Michael McDonald threw me off. Like I saw this man and I'm just like, who is this? Like that's not the guy on the song. Like why'd you hire this man to lip sync to this music? That can't be right.
Yeah. No.
We actually have some. Okay, so we got one from
What is
Grapple
that
Geekery,
voice?
by the way, who says, "I'll have to watch on catch up, but it's awesome to see y'all back together. Thanks for being important voices in professional wrestling, folks. Thank you, Grapple Geekery. Very nice of you."
Thanks, homie.
We got John Taylor here who says, "Which Ninja Turtle is black, and why is the answer all of them? Discuss."
I almost thought of putting Ninja Turtles on my list because that's another one that I can absolutely see, especially like the newer Ninja Turtles. Like they feel like young black kids. Like that's probably it. But I imagine, and everybody can answer this for me if you were Ninja Turtles fans growing up, I feel like every culture probably sees themselves in the Ninja Turtles.
Definitely. That's what I feel like where it lands for me, you know?
Yeah. Because the good thing is they were so ambiguous. They're just fucking turtles that like there has to be a whole generation who kind of just saw themselves in the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
I love it. Alrighty. Well, I learned a lot. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, good on you, Denise. Listen,
I mean, hold on. I want to ask at least one thing. Was there anything, Denise, that you grew up thinking was Mexican and then found out wasn't?
Yeah, like my whole entire system of beliefs I thought was Mexican. So I remember like just everything, like even the way that I was raised, everything I was like, yeah, this is just the way that it is because I'm just Mexican. But there wasn't like a specific person that I thought was Mexican and then wasn't.
No, you didn't like hear Britney Spears and all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, this person's not like
confusion on Britney Spears. No, I think for me it was the thing of that I didn't know that I was. I think the thing was that a lot of people don't even, because I grew up in an all Hispanic town. Like there was only primarily Mexicans actually, and I didn't realize that a lot of the stuff that were popular in my school, like Britney Spears and NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, were for all like white people because all the little Mexican kids, including me, we were all up on that. Like we weren't talking about like the Mexican artists. We were talking about the American artists. And I think that's pretty like, I guess, telling within itself. I'm not really sure, but that's just the way that it was out here.
It
So
feels
I
like
don't know.
the Hispanic kids now listen to a lot more of that stuff though. Like it's not so like Americanized music, you know?
Like when I grew up, I remember, this is so silly, but when I grew up, I thought Mexican food was just food. Like I didn't realize, oh, this is Mexican, like this is specifically Mexican food. I thought everybody was eating the same things. I thought everybody was having tamales for Christmas. I didn't know that was a Mexican thing. So it's literally things like that where I'm like, oh wait, this is like specific to your culture, not to.
So it's almost like it's like the opposite of what we were saying. We're like you thought everything was you thought the way you lived was the way everybody lived.
Yes, exactly
Okay.
that. That's what I thought. And then I grew up and I was like, oh wait, not everybody is exactly like this.
A lot of people don't have tortillas for breakfast on their
Right?
table. That's not a thing.
I didn't know that not everybody drank soda for dinner. Like I was like, wait, people actually drink milk and fucking water? What? Fucking tea? Bro, give me a can of Coke. Like that's what I
That
thought
is
people
so
had.
funny, dude. My friend growing up, that's how I was like he was Mexican and like they would have cases of Coke. Like that's all they
I
drank.
still have cases of Coke. Like every household that you go to that's Mexican will go into their garage and you
So
will
good.
find like 12 pack on top of 12 packs on top of 12 packs of Coca-Cola.
They're expensive now too, Denise.
And it's like, yeah, and I didn't realize that was like weird or all of this until I grew up.
No, you didn't. Growing up, they didn't. It was certain times they were like, no, you can't drink soda. We
Yes.
grew up in that kind of household. Like, don't drink too much soda.
There'd be
And-
soda there, and your mom be like, "You can't have that."
Yeah, and my grandparents were very Southern, so my grandfather drank milk with everything. So he used to get up in the morning and drink milk and orange juice. Like he drank milk all the time.
Yo, grandpa's was starting off crazy with
Let
the
me
milk
tell
and
you.
orange juice. My stomach would
Reg,
explode.
guys, if you have a headache in a Mexican household, you want to know what they're going to tell you? Go drink a soda. So that your headache will go away.
Go
and
drink
you know
a
what? To
soda
this
is
day, if I
hilarious.
have a headache, I will go grab some
Drink a
Coke and
soda.
take a sip, and I'm like, all right, cool, my headache's going to go away pretty soon. I'm not kidding you. It's a thing.
I love it.
That is fascinating because like obviously, you know, I grew up in a household that like use ginger ale to cure everything, right? So like that's my thought is
Yeah,
all right, ginger ale is medicine. Yeah, if I got a cold, drink some ginger ale, and if I stomach bug, ginger ale, and
Headache,
what else?
ginger ale.
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing ginger ale can't cure.
Stubbed your toe, you better drink some ginger ale. Get out of here. Ginger ale and go lay down like Rafael Garcia did.
I know, how the hell do we even have a pandemic? Just drink some ginger ale and like that should have just solved everything.
That's hella funny.
They
That
should have
and
been putting out
Vicks.
ginger
Also
ale
Vicks.
instead of vaccines. Like, you should have drank some ginger ale and not took the vaccine. We wouldn't be here right now.
For us, it's Vicks. Like, you put Vicks on everything. Like, I put Vicks on my feet. Make it make sense, okay? When they tell me, like,
Wow.
if you have a cold, you put your Vicks on rub Vicks on your feet and then put your socks on and go to sleep.
Oh my!
I was about to say Vicks on the feet,
Works.
Denise. Like, are we? Should this content be for Patreon? I'm not sure.
Spicy feet. That's crazy.
Yeah, but your feet feel nice after. It's just like, ooh, that's nice.
Okay, you said too much feet content. We need to move forward.
But yeah, I mean, I put Vicks everywhere. I mean, everywhere. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, I put Vicks on my temples. I put Vicks in my ear. Wait, did I put it in my ears? My nose.
I saw that look, Phil. By the way, as soon as she said everywhere, you were like, "What does everywhere mean?"
Well, I mean, like anywhere above my neck and my feet. Nothing in between.
So not everywhere. Not anywhere.
Well, my chest
honestly.
too. You gotta include the chest. Yeah.
I mean, that's like the place you put Vicks.
Feet. Chest, face, feet, head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
All right.
What? You see what I mean? I'm telling everybody, and now everyone thinks I'm weird.
I mean, we were thinking that before this show.
That's kind of.
Always thought it.
Definitely.
We got let me see where we're at here. We got John Taylor who says, I thought Fergie was full-blown Mexican.
Fergalicious.
Oh, I never thought that about Fergie.
Mm-mm.
What was I just listening to the other day that I was like, you know what? This is a good song. Big Girls Don't Cry. No, Big Girls Don't Cry. It came on in the grocery store, and I was like, all right, yeah, this song was pretty good.
I thought you were just gonna be like you would just listen to Fergie on a whim. I'm like, why would you listen to Fergie and you're
No, we've reached the point where like late 2000s, early 2010s stuff like plays in the grocery store.
Yeah.
In the same way that when you were growing up, it was all stuff from the 60s, and now here we are.
Damn.
Wild. Oh, here John Taylor says, backing up Denise, Vicks on the feet, socks, sleep, cure in the Mexican house. You see what I'm saying? You know what you can also do if you have like a really bad cough? They tell you to put the Vicks and then put some salt. It's so annoying to have to sleep like that, but you put the salt on top of the Vicks and you go to sleep like that. And I mean, it sucks and you stink, but it works really well if you have like a really bad cough.
Marinate yourself in sauce and seasonings. And
I know you're
what's
seasoning
going
the
on
Vicks.
here?
What is happening here?
But dude, I'm telling
on
you,
it.
I had bronchitis one time, okay? And I had the worst cough of my life. And the only way I got some sleep and I hadn't had antibiotics yet because I had an appointment I hadn't made yet, was with the Vicks and the salt on top of that. See what
Where
I'm
are we?
saying? I'm
Where
just
are we as
passing
a
on the
society?
wisdom, okay? Passing on the wisdom. Do you
Salt
want to
your
hear
Vicks.
how I get rid of my hiccups?
No, I've never heard of this. I've heard of
Wait. Oh, I want to know this story. What is how is Denise getting rid of her hiccups?
Okay, you'll never believe this one. Promise you won't believe it, but it works. Don't ask me how, but it does work. You put 2 toothpicks, one here and one here in back of your ears, and just let it be. And they go away. Don't ask
That
me
is not
how.
where I thought this story was going at all.
I'm
What?
telling you,
I don't think that really works.
every time I have hiccups, I just go to my kitchen, I take 2 toothpicks, put them behind my ear, give it like a minute, and I swear to God, they're gone.
What?
Now, have you ever
My grandma
considered,
taught me
Denise?
this.
Denise, have you ever considered that no matter what, hiccups eventually go away?
Yeah,
And
but
so
no,
no
here's the
matter
thing, though,
what.
I've tested it, Will. Without the toothpicks, they last a really long time, and I get hiccups quite a
I
bit.
think it's
But when I put
uh,
the toothpicks, they go away.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, it's about focus. Like if you
but it
don't
works.
focus on the hiccups and you focus on balancing 2
It works.
toothpicks in your ear, you're gonna forget about the
Yeah,
hiccups.
trust me, it works.
Yeah, no.
It
Denise is
works.
like, I rock across a high beam, and then like I just forget about it. Yeah.
I mean, but you remember that commercial though? I forgot what brand it was for. I think it was just like a beer commercial. But you remember when it did, like they were doing something and dude like came upstairs and then somebody was about to score, so he ran back downstairs because he couldn't be upstairs, and they were like, "It's only crazy if it doesn't work," and like that was supposed to be the lesson.
I'm just saying there are certain things like I'm pretty superstitious in some stuff, you know, like if I hit my elbow, I don't rub it. I make sure to make a wish. So like, and that shit hurts when you hit your elbow.
What?
You never heard that one either?
No, I've never heard this at all.
Okay, if you ever hit your elbow, you know how that shit hurts?
Yeah, like a funny bone kind of thing, right?
Do not rub it. You have to take the pain and make a wish.
What?
Okay,
Yes.
so I have a question. Has every wish come true from everything you've ever hit your elbow
Any
For
on?
the
wish
most
come.
part, yes.
Because if that works, Denise, you're wishing for like all the wrong things. How have you not just been like, ow, $1 million? Like, why is it?
I mean, I can't tell you what I wish for, else it won't come true.
Hit
But
your
I
elbow,
gotta put it
a
out
new
there.
house. Denise is like, oh, I wish for some Cheetos. And like,
No, I'm being
have better
serious.
wishes.
I do this. I never rub it. You know how many times I've had to withstand the pain? And I just
Yeah.
take it. I just handle it. But I'm telling you, it's a thing.
You doing voodoo out there?
All right.
Okay, have you heard the egg cleaning?
Oh, she doing voodoo for sure.
Have you ever been cleaned by an egg?
Oh,
No.
she's definitely
You've never
doing
heard
voodoo.
it? It's a limpiada. So basically, whenever you feel like you have bad energy or like a bad aura or you feel like bad things are happening to you, they do a limpia on you. They get an egg and they rub the egg all over you, right?
I'm good.
And then they crack it into the toilet or in the sink or wherever. You crack it somewhere. And if it comes out black, that is your bad aura and your
Why
bad
would the egg
energy.
come out black though?
It happens because it's your energy. The egg is taking away the bad energy. And so when you crack the egg will tell you, depending on what color it is, if it's bad or not. And you get rid of it that way. See, there you go. Michael Dominguez, el mal de ojo. You see, here we go, Mr. Acosta. My Ecuadorian mom cured me so many times with the egg. Michael Dominguez here says, Denise is spilling all of our family secrets. What else? And then Luis here says, I did that to my dog and it worked. The yolk was black. And then Danny here says, I actually heard of the egg thing. John Taylor says, toothpicks, make a wish. Denise can claim those. Jay says, why the egg gotta be black?
Something about that sounds crazy.
Look,
Like,
Laura here says she's giving
So you
you
get the
guys
negative energy
gold.
out of it?
Apparently so. Yeah, like I have never heard any of these
Cleanses
things.
your aura. Yes.
no, I've heard of people like putting onion in a sock and stuff like that for like remedies, but with this egg thing, I've never heard of.
I was gonna say I dated a Latina for a long time, but she was Salvadorian. None of these are Salvadorian things at all. Cause I ain't seen none of this shit.
I'm telling you. By the way, we're joined by your good pal, Will.
These
We
are-
got
Are we?
Scatz on. Let's bring
What?
him on. Hey,
Anthony Scatz.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
hey,
me.
look at him in the old orange RBR shirt. What is that?
There it is.
Somehow I kept this from all my moves over the last decade, and because I've lost weight, it actually fits me better now than it probably did when I got the shirt.
Ah, well,
Go figure.
I mentioned, folks, that the first person true story, when I asked individuals to host a podcast with me 20 years ago, the first person I asked was Anthony Scatz. And yeah, he was an immediate yes. And we hosted RBR together. You were there like 2.5 years?
Yeah, it actually was not as long as you would imagine, considering how original I am to that show. Although, to be fair, I did say yes, but what was the first thing I asked you when you told me the idea? And I know you know this because you always repeat it.
What is a podcast?
That is correct. That's how fucking old you are. I was in the Twitch chat when I was watching this, and when you were talking about it, I was just trying to tell everyone that like people need to remember we began this show when we had just graduated high school, when MySpace and the Facebook were trying to gain traction.
That's true. We promoted our show all over MySpace. That was the thing. We had the MySpace page for RBR. That was great.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
like, of course we were going to be edgelord. We had no idea of accountability or online archives or what the hell we were doing.
No, not at all.
That said, of the hosts that we had, I probably was maybe the most edgelordy at the time. I was very into dark comedy and
No, at the time, Nick was the
Nick would definitely lean into it a lot more, but I did not shy away
like
from it.
I had to like. There were times where I wanted like throw a punch at Nick. Like, do you not remember the time I threw my headset down? Like, there were times where like I saw Nick a couple years ago, and he has absolutely grown up, and I appreciate Nick today, but. Nick, at the time, there were times where I wanted to fucking... You know what's great, by the way? I just thought about something. Because this is the first time I've had you guys in the same space. So, Scatz has always been kind of my go-to to talk basketball with over the years. But I talk basketball with you guys so much that, like, I haven't had you guys in the same space to, like, actually talk basketball. So, Denise, you can plug your ears for right now. But we have potentially 2 games left in the NBA Finals. I think 1.
Yeah.
I think it's over.
Halliburton, I think, is getting
Especially after last
MRI
night.
scan for his hamstring. I think that might be it. I think it's over. Sadly, Well, I say sadly because I think it's really good for the NBA to have 2 small market teams with 2 very young ascending star guards trying to like make the most of it. I know the NBA likes it because the more games, the more money they get. But I just think this finals has been really great for the league. And I say sadly because like if somebody was going to win, you don't want another star player getting injured to possibly be the deciding factor of it.
Right.
So that's why I say sadly.
Yeah, it's been a really good finals too. I think this has been the best finals probably in years, to be honest.
I mean, like, honestly, thinking about it, last night should have been the night that Oklahoma City took away the crown. That should have been it. Like, they shouldn't have given up game 1 the way they did. And the
way it was taken.
Yeah. I mean, to essentially for Indiana to have not led for what was the stat 47 minutes and 59 seconds, they did not have the lead. But 1 second made all of the difference of them walking away with game 1 and stealing game 1 the way they did. And at that point, I thought, look, I've been rooting for OKC simply because I think I've said this over the years. Anybody that's listened to RBR or Grapsody or anything, that whenever the Nuggets get eliminated, I typically root for whoever took them out because then the loss is not in vain. I'm not petty like that where I'm like, all right, you eliminated us, well, I want to see you guys lose. I'm like, no, I want our loss to mean something. So therefore, if OKC wins the championship.
Directly, by the way. Like, I feel that that's literally been my philosophy for many, many, many years, unless it's a division.
I probably stole that from you. I can admit that.
Yeah. Yeah, because, but like, yeah, it's never like a division rival. So, that said, OKC and Denver don't really have much of a rivalry, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Compared to, like, I'm a Sixers guy in Philadelphia, so, like, triple fuck the Celtics, double fuck the Knicks. Nobody cares about the Nets. But I know, but I'm very much in that philosophy, too, of, like, if you beat my team, you better win the whole thing, or else I'm like, oh god, my team could have won that.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, here's a story for people who don't know how long I've actually known Anthony Scatz and why I asked him. Was it 2000?
Maybe 2001.
Maybe 2001 is how long I've actually known this guy.
Yeah.
Because we used to post on the same message board for a long time. Then we became friends over AOL Instant Messenger. Like that, I'm like really like dating us. We became friends over AOL Instant Messenger, and we like talked on AIM all the time. And then eventually, when it came time to like start a podcast, he was like the first guy I asked. And yeah, so that philosophy, I probably stole that from you, if nothing else.
I don't want to say stole, but I just know that's very specific to me that I feel like I've heard nobody else in my life other than you say that I feel like that has to either come from me or you've learned it from me.
Oh, I was talking to a guy at a restaurant yesterday because we went out to dinner last night and they had the game on, and I was kind of reacting every time OKC scored, and our server was like, he's like, oh, you must not like Denver. And I'm like, no, I love Denver. I'm a big Denver fan. What are you talking about? And he's like, why would you root for OKC? They eliminated us. And he's like, NSGA stole the MVP from Jokic. And I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that. I know. Everybody in Denver believes that Jokic should have had the MVP.
Okay.
I know, right? They can't look at things objectively.
They should. I mean, when you have a guy that talented, you should want him to win the MVP every year.
Right.
I mean, he had a great year, but I mean,
But it's SGA's year, and that's fine. But they were like, "You're gonna root for the team that stole the MVP from Jokic," and I'm like, "No, I'm rooting for the team that defeated us in the playoffs, and therefore, and we took to 7 games, so we absolutely challenged them harder than anybody has so far. Nobody else has taken OKC to 7 games, and I don't think Indiana will. I actually think Game 6 is going to be it."
I do too. I'm also kind of biased to Oklahoma City only because, as again a Sixers fan here, the Sixers kind of crawled so that the Thunder could walk with the idea of tanking and trusting the process and doing everything you can to get 87 draft picks and just hitting on a few of them and then making the right trade to get a star player in. Like we have Daryl Morey running our team. Literally his entire philosophy for 15 years is to try to get the assets to trade for a big star player. Granted, they got one in Shea that was young and cheap at the time, and he grew to this. But like, this is literally what the whole process was supposed to be. Except we drafted Jahlil Okafor instead of Kristaps Porzingis. We traded up for Markelle Fultz.
I want to read. I want Denise to read John Taylor's super chat.
The last one he just sent? John here says, do you think Denise cares less about basketball than she does tag team wrestling?
Denise, you don't like tag team wrestling?
She hates tag team wrestling.
Good tag team wrestling.
No, you don't.
Good tag team wrestling, not boring
What
tag
does that mean? Like, what do you mean?
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Reg thinks that I hate tag team wrestling just because I don't care about certain tag teams. I'm sorry.
What's certain tag teams?
I don't want to get into that.
That sounds like somebody with something to hide.
No, I was actually a big basketball fan for so many years when I was a kid. I was actually first a basketball fan before I was a wrestling fan. I bet no one knew that, huh?
No,
I knew that actually. We've talked about that. We talked about you as a Lakers fan and the Kobe stuff and like all of that. Like that's
the Lakers used to be my passion for the longest time, and I had like I only went to one game ever, but I went to the parades for the championships. I went to I had my little Shaquille O'Neal fisherman hat, and I had my little because I was a Shaq fan. And I had my little flag, and I had my little jersey, the whole thing.
Flag.
Yeah, I had a flag. Those triangle banner ones. You know those triangle ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to have like 20 of those in my room of just any random team because I just like the aesthetics more than anything.
Yeah, the felt joints, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll take that Oakland Athletics banner. I've seen them, maybe.
By the way, we got a super chat here from Jim who says, walking barefoot, I don't know that word, or dentro aire, equals now sick. Yes. So when basically Jim is saying is that basically when you're walking barefoot, your parents will blame you for getting sick if you walk barefoot. And then do you ever just get like random pains on your back or your shoulder? It's because you got air, you got aire. That's
I get that. It's called being 38 now.
We call it air. Like if you get cold air, like that's why I will never like have an AC directly at me because then my body parts will start to ache from the air.
Hold on, Denise. As somebody who keeps her house at fucking 62 degrees.
But, okay, hold on. I'm saying directly. Like it can be cold, but if you're directly in front of the AC, then it's like, okay, your body part will start to hurt. Or if you go out.
Wait, because I don't feel like I'm exaggerating here. I now have to go on my phone and pull up the picture I took of your thermostat.
You know
because
what? You know what I think, Will? I think
this is a black dad thing. That's what that is. Why are you looking at the thermostat?
Because I woke up in Denise's house freezing. I was like, what is going on here?
Denver! It's always cold over
Yeah.
here.
No, even I know that's not true.
Yeah, hold on.
It wasn't even freezing. It was like 60-something degrees. That's not freezing.
That's freezing inside a house.
That's cold for inside.
Yeah, I'm fat, and
you're
that's
from
cold
Denver.
for inside a house.
Okay.
I found it. All right, Denise's thermostat.
Cold.
63 degrees.
That's
Denise.
cold.
Inside of your house.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but 63 degrees is nice.
Yeah.
No!
I don't
No,
know.
It's
I'm
nice
on
outside.
63 too, yeah.
Nice outside.
I agree with
with
D. Lara in the chat. Like I am one, and maybe it's just because I like to make the stupid joke.
Got weak bones.
I consistently love to turn to set my nest with the voice thing, and I'm always like, set it to 69 degrees, and then my wife rolls her eyes at me.
Good degree.
69.
Yes.
Yeah.
60.
Scatz, man. Long time listener, first time question answer.
Yeah.
Did you delete this announcement from the Facebook group chat?
No, he's not in.
True story. I didn't even realize they still had a Facebook group until Will told that story here, because I'm barely on social media and stuff. To be also clear, I am still like I still keep in touch with the old RBR group, the Didn't Get All of It podcast that they do now, to a point. But I feel like it's important to say, for me personally, the reason I'm really happy to be here and support Will on this is because the whole point of this, it was Will's idea 20 years ago that essentially led to him getting pretty much his dream job today. Him wanting to talk wrestling, him just showing he had the ability to create ideas, this almost eidetic memory, and the passion he had for it eventually led to also him telling me in a hotel room at AEW Grand Slam, is like, I have this other idea, been spitballing for a podcast with two other guys to talk about, more of a black voice perspective in wrestling, which led to this.
I did tell you that in a hotel. I did, because I hadn't told the RBR guys yet that this was happening. But I had, because I had announced it. You're right. Because I announced it right before Grand Slam, because people were like walking up to me and they were like, "How could you be leaving RBR?" They're like, "That doesn't even make sense. Like, that's your show." And
he just told me about like the general idea that you had, and it was like very clear that this seemed like a passion project thing for you to want to do. I don't know if you had the logo yet, but I think you had the name, or it could have been the other way around. But like this, eventually,
I definitely had the name by that point for sure.
I was pretty sure you had the name, but like that just crazy idea you had from what's a podcast on my end to now you are in one of the biggest professional wrestling companies in the United States I will ever know in my lifetime, and like helping contribute to it in a way that I feel like wrestling has desperately needed for my entire life. Like, at the risk of getting political or whatever, like some non-white young fans that know wrestling and are passionate about it, but aren't just given jobs because they're in it, that can contribute in a way that could benefit anyone who wants to be a fan of wrestling. Wrestling's needed that for eons. And like, essentially, the germ of this happening for you comes from having this crazy idea to do a podcast to today.
And it's interesting that, thank you, I appreciate that. Actually, that's that warms my heart to hear that, and almost makes me want to shed a tear.
Perspective.
What's interesting is that the wrestling podcast landscape is so saturated. That is, I was trying not to use that word, but I'm like, because I'm not trying to be negative about it, but it's definitely, there's so many voices and faces in it that the idea of saying, like, I don't think it doesn't even sound like a crazy idea to say, like, hey, I want to start a wrestling podcast. It's like, okay, join the million people doing it now, right? Like in 2005, literally there was nobody else doing it, and it wasn't like an idea that was being done completely. Like, obviously, there was still, like, Meltzer was doing the law and things like that. Like, there was always going to be those... you still had kind of terrestrial wrestling voices being heard. But as far as, like, fan perspective podcasts, that wasn't being done yet, at least on a large scale. Again, when I did a search, there was one other one. I think they might still be running that one other one, because I think there was a point where they were like, we were taking shots at each other back and forth of like who's gonna last the longest, and like obviously they, because they were only like 2 weeks ahead of us at the time. It wasn't like oh, this show's been running a while. It was like, oh, this one is 2 episodes in. We can start one and let's do this. And then we did it. And I think the only difference in why they got so far ahead was because we took multiple weeks off and they like never did. But regardless, it's like just thinking about, like I said, 20 years ago, it was kind of a taboo idea. Whereas like now you have to have something that makes you stand out. And I think that to me is a bigger testament to why Denise is so good at what she does, why Phil and Reg are so good at what they do, because it is such a saturated landscape now that you have to stand out in some way to find any success at it. And the fact that you guys do that and you do it on a regular basis and a consistent basis, I think it continues to be hats off to you guys. And I will continue to leave that game to you guys. I mean, hey, I still host AEW Unrestricted every week, and there's a new episode dropping this Thursday with Ring of Honor World Women's Television Champion Red Velvet, and we actually.
I'll go continue your thing. I just thought of a thing I wanted to ask you that's non-wrestling that is controversial.
Oh,
More
The
controversy.
newest Mariah Carey video.
AI.
AI.
You're talking about Type
The one
Dangerous
with Mr. Beast or whatever.
with Mr. Beast, yeah, in the video.
Defend it.
Sure, it's Mariah Carey. She's the best. She's the GOAT, and she can do no wrong.
no,
I mean, you want
Hey, there's perfect timing for this. Hold on. Ben Snapper
No.
says, whenever you hear Denise say something weird, just remember she's a member of a cult. Swifty, could be worse. I could be defending Mariah Carey with an AI music video like Will.
Man.
Bam! Suck
Well,
it,
there you
Taylor
go,
ain't
Denise.
using AI.
The up and the slam dunk.
Yeah.
whatever.
Barnes and Noble yesterday or the day before. Every time I go in there, I forget there's like a little cottage industry like shelf of just kids' books about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
The goat.
It's kind of
Look at Will's
hilarious.
face.
Like,
Look at Will's face. Look at Will's
Yeah.
face. All right, let me pull up some more super chats. Hold on. We got John Taylor here who says backing up Denise again. Got 60 to 63 degrees equals comfortable. I agree. John also says my first ever wrestling radio show I listened to, precursor to podcasting, was a Saturday night show hosted by the Shadow Man, a black host BTW. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, John.
There was one super chat I wanted you to read. Read Skywalker views. Scroll up a little bit. It wasn't a super chat. It was just a
comment?
chat
Okay.
message. Yeah. Because there was. I did want to touch on this one. The one that says I found Will in 2010.
Okay, there we go. Found it. Thank you.
Aha! Found Will in 2010 via RBR because I wanted to hear a black dude talk about wrestling, which was a fascinating thing to have to search for at that time period, right? That it was like there weren't a whole lot of black voices in wrestling, and to actually have to find one in this guy. I'm glad I could be that for you. And he said it was around the time the video episode dropped. And yeah, that was so we did that video episode in 2011.
yeah,
So-
summer 20. I wasn't there, but I remember.
Yeah,
it was a
June
big
June of
deal.
2011, because that was a week before I moved to Michigan, and I moved to Michigan in 2011. So, thank you, everybody. Are we like out of time? I feel like we're out of time. I feel like we've like done enough. We've talked a lot here.
I pushed the meeting back, Will. I was like,
yeah.
oh shit, I'm gonna be here for a bit
You
longer.
know how Denise got back to back to back things.
Yeah, I feel like we've done enough. I guess I will close this thing out.
Yeah, you do
and
it, Will.
and say that thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching this whole thing. Wasn't even sure what this was gonna be. It was just kind of like whatever. The anniversary of that first RBR was June 18th, 2005, and it's June 17th, and tomorrow we have a massive show in Mexico. So this is really the day to do it. And seriously, anybody who's ever checked out an RBR or Grapsody or checked out After the Week with me and Denise or follows sorry, I've had a cough for 12 weeks now and I cannot shake this thing. But anyway, or checks out AEW Unrestricted, because thing is, I am still podcasting every week. It's very different now what I'm doing as doing more of a company representative thing. But I do appreciate everybody who's checked that out. And again, the idea of even just a little bit having some kind of an influence on the landscape that is professional wrestling podcast now, because again, it is so huge that to have even gotten started doing it a little bit was really cool, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud of everybody that I've gotten to work with over the years and all the stuff they're doing now, and I just appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Scatz for coming through. I appreciate Phil for being able to talk about anything at any time, and Reg is I think genuinely one of the most unapologetically real people in this space, and I've always loved that about Reg, and I think that
It gets me in trouble all the time.
yes, but I also think that Reg should unquestionably be like, I want to see all the success in the world for Reg. I want to see Reg be on a major platform. Like, I think that the unapologetic Reg that we have is deserving of the biggest megaphone one could possibly have. And I say all the time that Denise is the best in the world at what she does, and has pretty much no peer in this space. So
I thought you were going to say, and what she does isn't. You weren't. Oh, it's not a Wolverine reference. Okay, no.
And that's it. So thank you. That is it for this Grapcedo reunion with Anthony Scatz there as well. For Denise Salcedo, for Righteous Reg, and for Philip Lindsey, I'm Will Washington. I'll see you whenever. Have a great day. Peace.
All right, one more thing. Also, I'm going to be live in a couple of hours also for NXT. So if you guys want to come hang out for that, I'm going to be doing a watch along for that. Now, one last thing, I'm going to read the super chat really quickly from Daniel Robledo, because he did send the super chat in. However, I know that you probably can't answer this, Will, because it's more like insider baseball. He says, is AEW planning more baseball stadiums? Any talks for Yankee Stadium? Sorry, it's an obsession of mine to get to AEW in their 70 years we waited. I think it's very cool to see, want to see wrestling in baseball stadiums, but I'm assuming even if you did know, Will, you probably wouldn't be able to answer this.
I wouldn't be one to answer that. That's not definitely not this podcast space to answer that question.
Thank you. All righty. Thank you so much to Daniel. And that is it, guys. All right. With that being said, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for NXT. Bye, everyone.